First things first.
Yes.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm alright, thank you. What I want to start with is, do you remember what first attracted you to metal music?
My brother Dan and Mike used to listen to music upstairs, and my brother Dan listened to bands like Slayer and Venom and Metallica, and one night I couldn't fall asleep, so I asked to borrow one of his records, and I said, let me borrow that record with the song about a sanitarium, and it was Metallica, Master of Puppets. From that night on, I've been a fanatic.
What is it about metal music that appeals to you?
It just has this kind of carnal, like, aggressiveness that I just loved. You know, I love the moods and and I don't like I like all kinds of metal. I like speed metal, I like death metal, I like black metal, but I like how moody black metal is, and I like how aggressive speed metal is, and I don't know, it's just something I was really drawn to for some reason.
Is it in that way an outlet as well?
Yeah. I mean, it's being able to play metal music is something I've always wanted to do since I was a little kid. You know, I've been in many bands, but none of my bands played metal. This is the very first band I've been able to play in that I can push the metal thing a little further.
And I believe this was by design. You thought of this a couple of years ago already.
Yeah, I mean, when I started this band, it was going to be able to get out some of the speed metal roots that I had. You know, I never got to do that with Alterbridge or Creed or anything like that. So this was the perfect moment for me to develop those songs.
Were you writing metal riffs all along Creed and all along Alterbridge?
Yeah, since I was a kid, yeah. Some of the songs that are on our records, Tremonti records now, I wrote back when I was 7th, 8th grade.
Okay.
Yeah.
And well, you mentioned Metallica. Was that the first kind of band that you were infatuated with?
Yeah, I mean, Master of Puppets, really, the album turned me into a music fanatic, and then from there, I think Rain and Blood was the next big record that I fell in love with, and then Celtic Frost, you know, To Megatherion, or Morbid Tales, Emperor's Return, all the Celtic Frost stuff. From there, I got into Testament and Megadeth and Anthrax and a lot of the Bay Area thrash. And so I'd say thrash metal is probably my favorite, and then but black metal also has a place for me. I love Celtic Frost.
But then quite interesting, I mean, as you mentioned yourself, you weren't able to express this side of your musical persona in the band you were in. So how did it develop, and how did you end up kind of in Creed?
You know, when you're playing in bands in college, you just find whoever can play an instrument. You're not necessarily looking at the 15 different drummers and one of them's a metal guy. Sure. It's just the two drummers or the two bass players or the one singer in town. They only do one thing. So when I got into the mix, I was the metal guy, and this guy was the Doors guy, and this guy was the Zeppelin guy, this guy was Living Colour guy. So I've always been the heavy part of the bands I've been in, but I couldn't get as heavy as I wanted in those bands.
And well, part of metal obviously is it's not it's a subculture. It's not part of the mainstream music scene. Why do you think that is?
You know, just young kids, women. A lot of times they like pop music. You know, I have kids now, and I just see that. My 11-year-old at school, none of them have anything to do with heavy metal. Every now and then you have a kid who likes Zeppelin and whatnot, but they all like whatever the pop song is on the radio, you know? I think they like happy music, and metal's more like, you know.
But in that sense then, do you think it's a matter of exposure in a way? If you would expose?
Yeah, I mean, if kids, when they fall in love with it, I think just like me, when I found Master of Puppets, it spoke to me, and I was always kind of an isolated kid. I was always new, moving around, and didn't have many friends, so those albums were my life. And I had a little chip on my shoulder because I was always this new kid who had to remake friends all the time. So this music was my friend, you know. And you know, just nowadays you just don't see young kids getting into metal as much. You see it more over here in Europe. In the States, like I said, my kids at the school they're in, I don't think there might not be one kid who knows who Slayer is. I don't know.
I don't know how old your kids are, but
11. 11 is my oldest. Yeah.
What does he think of your music?
They love it just because it's dad's music, but they want to listen to some upbeat music. Yeah.
And what's your opinion of that?
You know, the more I've listened to it, there's some good stuff. You know, like James Bay, for instance, on pop. I think he's great. What he does, great singer, great songwriter. You know, my wife and kids love Justin Timberlake. You know, if you're a metal fan, you're gonna hate Justin Timberlake, but you can't deny the fact the guy can sing, he can dance, he can act, he can do all these things. So I'm not gonna hate on pop because there's a lot of talented people.
How would you then characterize a metal fan in a way?
Metal fans just go a little deeper, I think. I think a pop fan likes pop music and they have fun partying with it, but a metal fan really digs in deep and goes deep into the history of those bands and learns all the lyrics, wear the clothes, learn how to play the songs. You can't go into a pop thing and how are you going to learn how to play these beats that they have in pop music? There's no real instruments, it's all programmed. So metal fans are more hands-on, you know, and because of that, I think they're more diehard. And a metal fan will be a metal fan for their entire life. A pop fan will like a song here and then, but they'll forget about it a year later. So metal fans are for life. People have always told me you're going to grow out of it. I'm 42 years old, and I still love it just as much as I ever have.
Yeah, in that sense, how metal are you?
I'm 1,000% metal. You know, I still love every album I grew up listening to. I still love just as much as anything now. You know, that's not to say that I'm constantly searching for new metal bands. I'm kind of happy with what I got, the bands that I grew up with. You know, and there's some metal bands that come out nowadays that I think are great. You know, and but I still just love all the stuff I grew up with.
And then on the other side, obviously, there's also Alterbridge.
Yeah.
So how do you balance those two?
Alterbridge is it's gotten heavier and heavier and heavier and heavier as the years have gone by.
Right.
And now that I've gotten to do the Tremonti stuff and get heavy with the Tremonti stuff, now when I go back to Alterbridge, I've kind of purged a lot of the heavy stuff and I can be more back in the Alterbridge world where it's more anthemic. You know, Alterbridge is more epic, big songs. But Miles, over the years, has written more and more heavy stuff. So when me and Miles get together now, we're writing heavier stuff than we ever have. But I think Alterbridge just has, Miles can do things with his vocals that I can never do, you know, and Alterbridge lends itself very well to that big, epic feel that we like to leave a lot of space. We like long songs, you know. We like to mess with our arrangements, where Tremonti's kind of more heavy, fast, to the point.
Right. And, well, you mentioned the singing.
Yeah.
On the previous record, you had one song where you took lead vocals.
Yeah, yeah.
Are you, because I think you are writing now again for a new record, so are you thinking about doing that again?
We're mixing the new Alterbridge right now,
Oh,
so
okay.
I didn't sing any leads, but I sang a lot. You know, I sang a lot of the harmonies and a lot of parts and counter melodies and whatnot. But there's not a song that's just my song, like Waters Rising was.
Right.
But I sang for days and days and days, you know, on the record. So.
Is it good then, maybe in a way that you don't take the lead vocals, because obviously in Tremonti you do?
Yeah, it might muddy the waters a little bit. Yeah.
And, well, you say you're in the mixing process. What can you reveal or tell me about kind of the direction you're headed in?
I think it covers all bases. You know, there's definitely the big, long, epic songs, and there's definitely the heavy stuff, and there's more accessible, lighthearted stuff. So there's 14 songs. We'll see how many make it, but I'm hoping it'll be about 11 songs, and it's just a little bit of something for everybody, I think.
And you mentioned the word mood in the beginning of the interview, that you like moods. Do they have a big influence on what type of music comes out?
Which band?
A mood. If you're in a certain mood.
Oh yeah, I mean, I write better when I'm in a good mood. When I feel confident with what's going on in my life and in my career, I write better. If I'm in a slump, I usually just don't want to work, you know? Yeah. So I'll have to wait. When I'm in a good mood, I write like crazy. Yeah.
Do you have an album title yet?
We don't, not yet. It's getting close though.
And then I have a couple questions about Dust as well.
Yeah.
Because I previously spoke to you about Cauterize. Now the second part kind of that recording period is released. How do you look back at those two, and do they feel separate, or are they still one thing?
They feel different to me. You know, it's Cauterize seems a little more, little moodier, and Dust I think seems more energetic. I think. I didn't plan it this way, but you know, a lot of folks are appreciating Dust more than Cauterize. I don't know if it's because it's the newest album or what, but I just pretty much took the best song and put it on one and the second best on the other, and just made sure the dynamics were good on each album. And but I think each album does have its identity. I didn't mean it to even be that way. I wanted them to be as equal as possible.
And so, what is your opinion on it now? That if you, what is, for instance, for Dust, what is that identity that it has now?
I think it's just a little more digestible, a little more upbeat, but still just as heavy as Cauterize and everything else. But just when we're performing the new songs, they just feel fresh. You know, I like having that fresh feeling when we play songs. You know, it's always exciting to play the new song. So 6 months from now, it might not feel fresh anymore, but by then we'll be working on a new album.
And yeah, that you still do want to make more albums.
Oh, of course, yeah.
There's one, the final track, that was one that stuck out for me a little bit, Unable to See. What was the starting point of that song?
That song came from, well, the intro part, I've had that little intro fingerpick part for years and years and years, and I've tried to put it with so many different songs. Finally, I'm like, this is the song. This is where it's going. But when I started Alterbridge back and I started making demos when Creed was breaking up, before Miles was in the band, I made demos for the One Day Remains record, and there was a song called Song for the End, and the chorus to Unable to See was the chorus to that song. It was actually the segue into the chorus. So I've always wanted to use that part. And then back when I was playing a show in Pennsylvania, somebody came into our dressing room and stole my recorder that had all my ideas on it for like 6 months. So that night we went and got a new recorder, and I just sat in the back lounge trying to remember as much stuff as I possibly could to get it back on tape. And that's the night I wrote the verse to Unable to See. And then I partnered it up with the chorus from that Song for the End, and so there's a lot of old roots in that song.
There's one line I wrote down from it, which is, I forgot any fool that I was, but who I am to just think he's gone. Where did this line come from?
You know, it's just realizing that you are who you are, and just because you think you've overcome something, don't ever think that weakness you once had might not come back and get you. You know, so
is it important in a sense to remember where you come from?
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.